Hey, I'm golf broadcaster Matt Adams. The updated and expanded second edition of my book, The Golf Round I'll Never Forget, Golf's Biggest Stars Recall Their Finest Moments, is now available. Readers can expect to march with Arnie's Army at the 1960 U.S. Open, relive Jack Nicklaus's remarkable 1986 Masters win, and be amazed by the Tiger Slam. The Golf Round I'll Never Forget, Golf's Biggest Stars Recall Their Finest Moments. Pick it up where fine books are sold, including BarnesandNoble.com and Amazon.com.
We'd like to welcome you to the Footballs Family Podcast, and I'm recording from a different place. So, if you hear water running in the background, there's a fish tank, and every now and then you're going to hear me say, "Get down, Money Penny," because my puppy thinks she has to be the center of attention. There she is, right there. She's like, "Daddy's home," and what do? I have to get up in his face.
Hey.
Yeah, that's how it works. Now, again, this is a friend of the show here. Who do we got on?
Oh, Travis Creasy.
Yeah.
I'm back. NFL prediction show. Not necessarily my forte, but hey, I gave it a shot. We'll see.
Well, I think you did fine. And like I said, Money Penny is going to be up in our face the entire time. She is
It's all right.
She's 7 weeks old in a couple, or 7 weeks old, 7 months old in a couple of days. And I'm told that with chocolate labs like her, she is in her baby shark or land shark time. And I have wounds on my hand that proves it.
All right.
All right. So far, we have very little college football to go on. I'm laughing a little bit. I'm not Georgia Tech or Florida State fan at all. I respect both fan bases because I've been around one in particular. It's kind of funny to me what happened over there in Ireland.
I think it's kind of funny to everybody, except Florida State fans. I know Kirk Herbstreit's probably really loving it because he took a lot of grief on that Florida State thing. Of course, I thought they had beef, but I thought they had it with the wrong team. Like now we knew then Michigan was cheating.
Oh yeah.
And now they're getting punished. I don't know why that couldn't happen, a couple of months ago when the games were actually being played. But
now did I hear it correct that Jim Harbaugh has a show clause, or what do they call it, where if he ever comes back, he has to pay, he has to be penalized?
Yeah, I saw that, and I don't know. I didn't read the report, but I saw that was part of it, and so
you know what he's going to do? I'm good. I'm good.
Oh yeah, he's done. Yeah, yeah.
So Florida State, for what I understand about college football now, with the 12 playoff teams, one loss doesn't necessarily knock you out.
No.
But it's not good to start a year off with a loss.
It's hard to overcome that. Just mentally, not really, you got plenty of wins out there floating around that can help you offset. But I think it was kind of the way it was done. I mean, Georgia Tech kind of came out and did their thing offensively, and Florida State couldn't get enough to stop them. But, when you spend all offseason focused on the past, and it's going to be easy for Alabama fans to do that this year. But if they listen to their old coach, right, they know that's a recipe for disaster.
Right now, Florida State should have been in the championship playoff. Alabama probably shouldn't have. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not there to make the deal, but
telling you, Michigan stole their spot. Michigan cheated. They had no idea, no business being in there. And I've said it since the get-go. Like, I'm saying, if you got an issue, it's with Michigan. Like, Alabama beat the number one team in the country in Atlanta. In their backyard. Who else does that? Nobody, Jeremy. Nobody.
See, now this is coming from an Alabama fan. If you can look in his background, it's everywhere.
Nobody.
And I'm here with Alabama tendencies, but I'm like, I think that if a 12-team playoff was last year, Florida State would have been in it. Georgia, Alabama, and I'm even hearing tell that Memphis this year is going to shoot up the ranks. Memphis Tigers from just down the road.
They're supposed to be pretty good. I think the thing with 12 teams is you're going to run into like a team like Auburn. They're going to play their first 5 or 6 weeks at Jordan-Hare.
Wow.
and they play A&M. I mean, they're going to be they might lose one. They might be 5-1 in 6 weeks, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're 6-0.
If you play the first 6 games at home and you lose maybe 2 of the next 6, you're looking at building up a ranking at the beginning that'd be hard to knock you off of.
Yeah.
SEC will probably, I don't know if Alabama's going to do it this year so much as I'm not saying that the coach that they picked is a bad coach. I was watching Washington last year and they're good for what they were. But I see Georgia making a resurgence in the SEC. I think Auburn would do well, and Ole Miss. Ole Miss, I think, is going to make a run.
Yeah, I think it's going to be those teams that have the schedule. I mean, I think Auburn got a great shot at 9 wins. Now, how many of those are going to be quality wins? Ole Miss has a great chance at winning 10, but how many of those are going to be quality wins? It doesn't matter anymore, right? Like, I think last year they proved that it doesn't matter anymore who you play. And I think what they're going to do is end up making teams play less of these marquee matchups. You're going to see less Alabama, Alabama going to Wisconsin. You're going to see less of that because the conferences provide those now. You know, you got an Oregon, Ohio State matchup. That's a conference matchup. And so I don't see the benefit of going to Madison and playing a Wisconsin. I mean, obviously, as a viewer, that's a game I'm going to watch, whether I was an Alabama fan or not. But
I just don't like the
as
idea
a
of
team,
Oregon being in the Big Ten.
yeah. So,
all right, so I'm looking right here on ESPN, just the SEC. And this is not necessarily an SEC show, but guess what? We're going to do it.
right here in Southeastern Conferenceville.
Yeah, not that that's ever an issue. The only game that I see, okay, Georgia and Clemson play the 31st. That will be a pretty good game.
Hey, and Georgia actually plays somebody this year, so that's great. Somebody with a pulse. They got to come to T-Town. That'll be a good game for them.
Yeah, that's the only team. No, Colorado State. No. Texas should dominate that. Notre Dame and Texas A&M. Like you said, that should be a big game too.
I got the Aggies getting it done.
I got the Aggies that too, being really close. LSU goes to Las Vegas to play Southern Cal. That should be an LSU game right there.
Yeah. Just more dudes.
Yeah, it's fine. Southern Cal is growing, but I tell you, just looking at the schedule here, I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee. They don't have the East and West anymore, do they?
No, it'll be the 2 best teams, best conference schedules battling out in Atlanta. And Jeremy, I'm not even sure that do you really want to go to Atlanta? I mean, obviously the SEC champ gets in, they're probably going to get a bye. But if you go and lose,
well, that's what happened to Georgia.
What do you gain? I mean, there's 12. You're going to get in. The top 2 SEC schools are in. That third team is probably going to get in. And, you know, when you look at it, do you go and win? Obviously, that's nice because you're probably going to get a bye because the top 4 get a bye. But if you lose, I mean, all you've done is put your team through another 4 quarters, you know.
All right. So let's look at this real quick. Current members. This is off of Wikipedia, so you know it's 100% right.
Dead on.
Dead on. Let's go through a list of these teams, and we're going to go to the Big Ten in just a second if you're up for that.
Yeah.
Alabama, are they in?
I think
they're on the cusp.
Their demise is going to be overly exaggerated.
It won't last long.
Alabama fans are going to be disappointed. So everybody's going to be disappointed about what Alabama does this year, and you just got to get ready. But I think they're in.
I'm just looking. It has their endowment. Alabama, according to Wikipedia, has a $2.08 billion endowment. Not bad.
I'll take some of that.
Arkansas is going to be good, but I don't think so. Auburn, probably.
I think Auburn gets 9 wins. I don't think it's enough to go into the playoff, but they're going
to. Florida, they're on the up, but
they're going to get that October schedule. Look at that October schedule. Billy Napier is a dead man walking. They should have fired him in the spring if they're going to fire him this year, because that, like, the last 6 weeks of their season is, I mean, it's Ole Miss. It's every SEC school that's like,
all right,
it's rough.
Okay, so they start out with Miami, and that ought to be pretty good. I like that matchup. That'd be pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, that's a big one. I think for both of those programs, like whoever loses, the coach is going to be on the hot seat. They're already on the hot seat.
Yeah, they already are. Texas A&M would be good. State would be good. UCF. Okay, I'll let you talk while these crazy things are doing their thing. All right, there we go. I'm sorry, guys. I'm home.
No, you're good.
Tennessee's always big, but I think Tennessee's got that this year. Kentucky is solid. I like the Kentucky team, but are they enough to make it to the playoffs? No, but they'll contend for a high bowl.
Yeah, Tennessee will probably flirt with 10 wins,
Yeah, they probably will.
but not all 10 wins seasons are the same. You know, if Alabama gets to 10 and they go to Bayou and they go to Rocky Top and they welcome in Georgia, I mean, that's
pretty solid.
That's a different 10-2. They go to Oklahoma the week before the Iron Bowl. Anyways, it's not an Alabama podcast. Sorry.
Yeah, well, it's all right. Kentucky, Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, Florida State. Good gracious, Florida teams. Good night.
It's hard. Like if he gets to 6-6, we're talking miracle. Extend that, man. He's just not going to do it. It's going to be hard.
Well, Florida's not used to that. I remember Florida back in the oh gosh, Shane Miller, is that his name?
Yeah.
Back in that day, back in the 90s.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, they were awesome. Of course, their quarterbacks never became NFL quarterbacks because they were system. Danny Cannell.
Oh, he's Florida State. You better watch out.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. You're right.
They'll
You're
come
right.
for you. He
You're
didn't
right.
say that.
I didn't say that. I messed up. I knew that. Who was it? Of course, I think there's a guy that won the Heisman, but I'm not mentioning his name either.
Yeah.
Just system quarterbacks, but it's college. All right. So going through the list, Vanderbilt will win the NCAA football championship this year. I did it in the on the NCAA game, so it's
so Jeremy, SEC wise, this is who I got getting in.
All right.
I got Georgia. They're going to win the whole conference.
I agree.
Texas, who gets beat by Georgia in Atlanta. You got Bama, Ole Miss. And maybe my shocker, which is weird to say because they always have dudes, is LSU.
Oh, so LSU jumps up, and you think they're going to make that'll be the 5 SEC teams?
I think that's the SEC representation there.
The only thing I would see different is Tennessee over LSU.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only difference. But Texas, to me, is a team that I don't want to play.
Yeah, I'm interested to see Texas. Like, I put them in Atlanta, but like there is going to be a little bit of a shock to play the teams that they have to play week in, week out. I just think that'll be tough. I think obviously I got them going to Atlanta, so they're going to win a majority of those. But I think there will be some like, okay, so this is what they meant. Going to Tuscaloosa, they don't play Alabama, but they go to that place and they turn around and have to go even Starkville, a place like that with all the cowbells. I mean, that's just a different beast than, hey, we played Oklahoma, now we're going to go play Texas Tech. And I love the Red Raiders, but
okay.
Party.
Doug Johnson, Danny Werfel.
Yeah.
That's who I was thinking of, Danny Werfel. I don't know. Going to play a team like Texas or Oklahoma, got to be brutal.
Yeah.
Got to be brutal.
That Oklahoma trip for Bama the week before the Iron Bowl is going to be wild because you don't know what kind of weather Oklahoma's going to have. It could be warm. It could be cold and sleeting and, that wind. I don't know if you've ever been out there, but there's nothing to stop that wind. And it's just brutal cold.
Well, if I remember correctly from the song that I've been listening to lately because of my daughter, let me see what it is. There ain't no love in Oklahoma.
There you go.
There ain't no love in Oklahoma. Hey, Luke Combs, if you ever want to come on here, Travis and I will talk with you about Oklahoma.
Exactly.
Right. Big Ten, real quick. Let's do this real quick. Let's go over here to the Big Ten, which is not 10 anymore.
Yeah. 14 or 16. I don't know.
Okay. Illinois, Indiana, Iowa. Iowa's always a strong team to me, but they're like a 7 or 8 win team. Actually, I talked yesterday when I say yesterday, in the most previous, that's Money Penny. I talked to a Maryland graduate yesterday, and he talks about the fact that Maryland is one of those teams that are not good enough to go further and not bad enough to go backwards. They're in the middle. So Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State.
I got both of those in.
Yeah, what, Ohio State and Penn State or Michigan?
Okay. I think Ohio State has to win it all, or they're not going to be happy with Ryan Day. They've went in on all kinds of money.
Do you know what will happen if they fired him? He won't even drop, and somebody would hire him and give him free reign.
Oh yeah.
That was
if
one
he beats Michigan, it's probably enough. But I think they went national championship or bust. I mean, they just spent tons of money.
Yeah, that's another thing we talked about, Travis. Like a team like that with a $7 billion endowment, and has so much publicity when it comes to everything else, they can spend money on people. And you hate to say that about college, but whatever.
Yeah.
California, CLA, USC, no. University of Washington is one of those teams that I just think always, I mean, they did lose their coach, but they are always one of those pesky teams that just come out of nowhere.
Yeah,
So
the Big Ten definitely got better. I think that there's no question to that.
Yeah, but it's so weird. Big Ten, you have the middle part of the country, and you have California, Oregon, and Washington.
Ohio State goes to Eugene, by the way.
Ohio State goes to Eugene. That's a heck of a drive there.
Yeah, goes to Oregon.
I tell you what, I like Oregon is one of the coolest teams to play as on NCAA football because you have like 30 different uniforms. I'm playing as Tennessee right now with a buddy of mine, and they didn't have the gray uniforms, and I hated that, but they had the black ones.
Yeah.
I'm all about tradition in college football. Do not change Penn State's. Do not change Penn State's. It's got to be the white. But man, that black helmet is just awesome.
Well, they Tennessee, I think they released another uniform like in the last day or so.
I'm pointing back here like you know what I'm pointing at, the TV.
Yeah.
So they got one. They do it. You have to buy it, or can you just is it an update?
I thought it was an upgrade. I didn't see any money involved, but I hadn't got on and played. So, but I thought there was like an Instagram post today about new uniforms.
Well, here I'm going to throw out a challenge from the Football's Family podcast to the. Now tell them your podcast that you're involved in.
I do the good old fashioned dislike, where we take rivalries and we just come up with crazy reasons as to why we like one team versus another. And very rarely do they have to do with football. And then at the end, we tell them who we're pulling for that week.
So we can do
West Virginia and Penn State this week.
Well, we can do the dislike versus the family. If you ever, I know you're a busy guy, but if you're ever, we can do that. We can do the PlayStation stuff, dude.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. You know, if I find that window, that'll be the key. Coaching football again and everything else.
Well, see, you're busy. I'm a preacher, only work 4 hours a week, so I'm good to go regardless. And if you don't catch that joke, it's okay. That's a joke that's been going on for as long as I can remember. But yeah, we'll do that. If not for a season, then for a game.
Yeah. Well, I got Ohio State. Like I said, Ohio State, Penn State. I got them in from the Big Ten. And Oregon. I had Oregon. That's so weird still to say Oregon.
But the Pac-12 is still around with two teams.
Yeah.
Two teams. I took all the independent teams and moved them to the Pac-12 because I want the Pac-12 to be represented.
Yes.
I think there's like 8 teams there. All right. Let's go with the ACC.
ACC, I've got Clemson. I know that's kind of crazy. That's kind of an outlier pick. I know they've got to play Georgia this weekend. That could be ugly. They could also give Georgia a run. And I know they play Florida State.
If they beat Georgia, or if they give them a close game, I'll give you that. But if they get curb stomped, I don't know.
Yeah. The big thing is you got to win that conference, man. As long as you're fighting for the conference, and Florida State might be better than them. But I look at it and I go, who else who else? Maybe Miami. If Miami gets off to a hot start with a win over the Gators. But
All right. So you have Clemson. I still can't believe that University of California is ACC team.
yeah, Atlantic.
Yeah, it's like really, it's all money.
Are we counting Notre Dame as ACC? Because I got them in, even with an L at Aggieland.
Yeah, they're gonna have an L there. It's gonna be hung on them. I interviewed a guy who, and I cannot think of his name, and I apologize. It's out of my head. He wrote a book about one of the coaches from Notre Dame, and he is a Notre Dame grad. It's about two episodes before this one, and he says that he likes it that Notre Dame is independent, and I can see that because that means they get the money and they don't really have to split it. But to me, if you're going to in college football be something, and they do the ACC like with basketball, don't they? They're ACC affiliated with basketball. So do you have them? Okay, so we'll put them in the ACC because right here, according to Wikipedia, which is always right,
Yes.
they are University of Notre Dame is in this.
Yeah.
A team I like on this particular, and it doesn't mean I think they're going to do great. I just always like North Carolina. Always liked them.
One of the only college coaches, active college coaches that has won a national championship, Mac Brown.
Mac Brown is one of those.
Kirby and Dabo.
Dabo, I always like that name too. Virginia Tech is a team I don't want to play.
Yeah.
And if I, but again, I was.
They got the Enter Sandman intro, man. Like, I don't know that it gets much better.
I haven't played that. Is that on? Again, I'm pointing to my TV. Is that on the PlayStation? Or
No,
Xbox?
it is not.
They don't have the rights to that.
No.
What's the point of that? If you can't just get the rights.
Yeah.
And if I was Metallica, I would say here.
Yes.
Here. Because
they do it better than anyone else.
Yeah, you know what happened to Luke Combs' song as soon as Twister came out? I'll kid you not. Let's see if I can pull this up here. I can't play it because I don't have the rights.
Spun right up to the charts.
It did. So let me look here. It has, but some of the introductions to that, it's just amazing that they couldn't get stuff like that. Because to me, if I had a song like that, all right, that song is good. Ain't No Love in Oklahoma. It's a good song. Good song. If it wasn't for this movie, it has 110 million downloads on Spotify. Now, Enter Sandman, just because of what it is. It's been around since I remember going to sleep with it during at Freed Hardman. So we would listen to Enter Sandman. That just tells you how demented I am to go to sleep to Enter Sandman. It has over 1.4 billion downloads. Can you imagine?
No, I won't even know what to do with myself.
Just give it to them. Of course, don't be so high on yourself there, Metallica. ABBA has about 2 billion downloads. Or Take a Chance on Me, and I'm probably a billion right there. I sing ABBA as I'm walking around here.
Well, of course, somebody has to.
Well, yeah. When I'm feeling good, it's Dancing Queen. Come on now.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So who do you have coming out of the ACC? Who do you have?
The ACC, I got Clemson and I got Notre Dame. If you count them,
I count them.
Oh,
this is your show. I'm just here. I count them.
I don't know about that. That's who I got coming out of the ACC, and those are both probably dark horse picks. Maybe not Notre Dame so much, but.
So do you have on your paper right there the ones that you have coming out already? How many do we have?
I got Ohio State, Georgia,
okay,
Clemson, Notre Dame, Texas, Alabama, Ole Miss, Oregon, Penn State, LSU. That leaves me with 2 spots left.
Now
the Big 12 winner.
The only one that I would disagree with is the LSU to Tennessee, but I'm not splitting hairs with that. So I'm cool. I'm cool with both, either one of them.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the Big 12, which is not anything like it was anymore. I'm sorry, Big 12. You lost your 2 biggest draws, and the biggest moneymaker is Texas by far.
Mm-hmm.
I always like
they're running the SEC already. That schedule is like weak as all get out compared to a lot of other schools. But
all right, I want to say this. University of Cincinnati's in the Big 12. I just noticed that. Really?
Yeah. And Central Florida.
Okay, I'm a purist in a lot of ways. That doesn't go.
Yeah.
I don't even think Arkansas should be in the SEC.
Yeah.
Missouri.
Well, that's funny because on College Football 25, I went in and I made I put all like Arkansas,
The Big Eight.
A&M. They're all back over there in the Big 12. They're all over there. I
I'm
moved them
gonna
all
do
right
that
back.
because it's guys, it's by you cannot have a rivalry with the University of California, Southern California, and Maryland.
Yeah.
You can't. You have it with Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, Auburn and Alabama. Okay, anyway. All right. By the way, Colorado is flashy and good, but I read somewhere, I was watching a video recently about the biggest, what was their record last year, like 4-8 season ever, the most hyped 4-8 season ever.
Oh yeah, easily.
Easily. Could they turn it around? Absolutely. That would be my dark horse. So who do you have coming out of the Big 12?
I've got the Utes. I love Utah. I probably shouldn't like Utah because they put it on Bama that year. They went undefeated, then got beat by Tebow.
Yeah.
But I just love their consistency. They're like throwback football, and they love the game. And I think they just, from top to bottom, they're consistent. That doesn't mean they're going to go undefeated by any means, but I think they're the ones who come out of the Big 12 just because they're tougher than everybody else. They're a tough out.
I'm looking at this. University of Central Florida is in Orlando, Florida. University of Houston is in Houston. Baylor's in Waco. Something's not right with that.
Yeah.
All right, so you have the Utes coming out. Do you have anybody else?
No, that's the only Big 12 rep is Utah.
All right.
And I'll just say, like, I despise the automatic bids. Like, I don't care if you win your conference. If you're awful, like, you shouldn't be in. And I know that's probably anti the whole thing, but I despise automatic bids. And then that leads me right into Liberty is going to get that last 12 spot. And it's we'll throw you a bone so that you can get destroyed by whoever comes down the pike, in hopes that maybe there'll be an upset one day.
They have good insurance.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. Are they the MU?
Yeah, Emu and Doug.
There you go.
All right, so this is how dumb I am or how wishful I thought that they actually had an MU out there, and I was like, that's cool. It's a computer graphic.
Yeah, that would be better.
All right, I get it. Laugh, laugh, laugh. It's okay.
Yeah.
But how many of you listening right now believe that that was a real bird? It looks real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so you got 12. Who are your final four?
My final four, I'm like boring. I think that it almost plays out chalk. I say almost because I think the depth is going to play such a big part, right? Like, I think that this is not going to be as much parity as they think it will be. It's going to be it's always been who stockpiles the 5 stars, but like there's going to be injuries just like the NFL. I mean, you're looking at a 16, 17 week season, basically. That's what it boils down to.
Which I think is too much.
Way too much. I think that the rivalries, that was on my recent podcast, like that was the golden dislike for the week. Like the rivalry games, like last week, that was awesome. Georgia Tech pulling off the upset, but everybody knows Florida State's not out of it. I mean, it's not over like it might have been last year. But
no, I think you're right about Florida State. So I got about 5 minutes before Zoom kicks me off. So who are your four?
My four, I think Ohio State, Georgia. I think they're going to benefit greatly from buys. And then I think, I want to put another SEC school in that top four. I really want to finish out the top four as SEC schools, but I didn't really hash out who's going to be playing who and where all that's going to be. It's real hard not to go with the teams that have some experience there. I would say Alabama's in that Final Four.
You think Texas can move up there?
I think Texas can be in there.
I tell you what, Texas team, if this is your season, you're in a harder conference. If you I wouldn't say run the table. They don't have to run the table.
You get to 10 wins, you're in.
You're in.
SEC, I think, easy.
Which means that a Liberty team will come up against you and you'll curb stomp them.
Yeah.
And you go up against a team like Ohio State, which is built different than Texas. But to me, it depends on where it would be.
Yeah, I think it's a Georgia Ohio State national championship.
I can see that. I can
Yeah.
see that, and I think I'm gone completely blank. Georgia's quarterback is one of the best in the country.
Carson Beck. Yeah.
Yes. Keep him healthy, Georgia. Put him in bubble wrap. Put him in bubble wrap.
Yeah. That's the thing. I think who's more set at backup quarterback.
Yes.
Who's going to have that? Texas has Archie. He's waiting in the wings.
Yes,
they would be fine. If they made the change right now, I think that they would be fine.
All right.
I like Bama's backup, so.
All right. So I want to look here real quick because we only have just a couple of minutes. I'm looking at Tennessee Tech. My buddy graduated from Tech, and he said, why are they going to Georgia? It's a sacrificial lamb for about $1 million is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only game I see them struggling in the first month would be the Alabama game. And I don't know if they're going to struggle. They got Auburn, they got State, they got Texas.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be a tough one. Whoever wins that, to me, is going to be number one in the SEC at that point.
Yeah.
Florida, Georgia has Ole Miss. They have Tennessee. UMass, they'll win. Georgia Tech, they should win. So I tell you, Georgia, this is your year. If you could pull off those games, my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. Whoever gets in will be battle tested. I have no doubt, especially from the SEC. You're going to earn that trip to Atlanta like never before.
Well, when you added two teams that geographically doesn't belong there, but man, can you imagine the money? It just means more. It just means more.
Yeah.
Yes, we are very heavy slanted toward the SEC, but that's okay.
It's the best football.
Well,
outside of the pros.
Is. Yes, it is. And this is my show, so no one can disprove it.
No slide to the top of the Big Ten, no slide to the top of the big ACC, but top to bottom, I think anybody that watches the NFL draft can tell you, man, that's just something different.
You will find, and this is not bad at all, you will find a lot of the guys that fill out your lineup will come from the Big Ten and Big 12. That's what you need. You have to have those guys, but your top 10, 15 players, where are they from?
Yeah.
Where are they from?
They at least originally signed with an SEC school. What I'm fired up, Jeremy, and I'm going to tell you this, I'm so happy to see the Aggies and Longhorns mix it up.
I'll be watching that game.
It's going to be ugly, and I love it.
I have nothing at stake there. I have a friend who graduated. She graduated from Tech with or Aggies. She graduated from Texas A&M with her master's degree at her undergrad. She tells me about it. She tells me how good the Aggies are. I'm like, all right, I want to see it.
Yeah.
Because if those two teams go at it, it's about time.
Got any guesses on who kicked the last game winner? Last game they played came down to a game-winning field goal. He is an NFL Hall of Fame. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's not yet. He's still active.
Oh, golly.
Kicked the game winner.
I have a guy in mind.
Longhorns walk off.
I have a guy in mind, but I only have about 2 minutes left. Is his name Phil?
He's a Raven.
Oh, Tucker.
Justin Tucker.
Now, you gave me a Raven, and I'm like, bleh. But Justin Tucker, I have him on my fantasy league now. So go Tucker.
There you go.
Kick a lot of field goals, just not extra points.
Yeah. Walked off that rivalry the last time they played.
I remember that now. Well, Travis, thank you for coming on.
Absolutely, man. Love to see you. Love hanging out.
Man, it's awesome. And your beard gets better looking every time I see it. So that's too bad this isn't visual, or you would
more
see
salt and pepper.
Yeah. You'd see the Triforce behind me here. And you'll see his epic beard. And hey, money. Come here, Money Penny. Come here.
A good puppy right there.
There we go. Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. That's
there.
Money Penny. She smells awful, so she need to go over there. Thank y'all for listening to the Football's Family Podcast.
Hey there, sports history fan. This is Arnie Chapman, a.k.a. the Football History Dude, and I hope that you enjoyed this recent episode presented by the Sports History Network and were able to learn some good old-fashioned sports history knowledge nuggets. I started the Sports History Network back in 2020 with the mission to help podcasters find a community of like-minded sports history nerds, as well as helping aspiring podcasters to start their own shows. We have a little bit over 30 shows on the network right now covering all sorts of sports history. But as far as I'm concerned, we're just at the toothpick in the ocean moment, that can't even figure it out because there's so much more coming. We wanted to create the ultimate headquarters for sports yesteryear, starting with Podcast Network and our website, but we're going to continue to move into other mediums as well. And here's the cool part, because we want you to be part of our team. So if you're interested in starting your own podcast, or maybe being a guest on one of our shows, or who knows, maybe even writing an article for us over on the website. Seriously, all you gotta do is reach out to us on the contact page over at sportshistorynetwork.com. You can be as technologically savvy as a Neanderthal tapping on a stone trying to figure out this whole hieroglyphics thing back in the day. Again, it doesn't matter, because even if you don't understand the whole podcast space, we have a production team that can pretty much help you out with doing everything. All you gotta do, head over to sportshistorynetwork.com, head to the contact page, fill it out. That message goes right to me, and I'll reach out to you as soon as I can. But for now, dude, I'm through if you're through.